and stuff you don't. It's the Ben and Bren Show.
Brian Dales,
What's up?
welcome
I'm here.
to the Ben and Bren Show.
The Ben and Bren.
We are
and Brian.
honored
the
to
Ben
have
and,
you.
The Ben and Bren and Brian.
You look like the coolest guy in the room. Got the. I know that's good coffee
It is
because it's
good.
in that. It's
It's
in that
the
cup.
small.
That's
You know,
like,
you know,
the
coffee.
small.
You know, the coffee's
Yeah.
good. It's like they've convinced you that the
Yeah.
better the coffee, the smaller the cup.
Yeah. But
little-
it's still $9. Yeah.
Is that from Proof?
No, this is a Cafecito Organico, the one on the
Okay.
other side of the shell, the
Yeah,
one that's
yeah,
like
yeah.
the window.
I
That's
never think about that one.
pretty good. That's probably my favorite one on this street.
Yeah.
I'm also like, I don't drink anymore, so now I've just become an
Yeah.
asshole about
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah. How
just
many cups of coffee do you drink a day?
Well, it depends. Espresso, I can ride out longer throughout the day because it's like
Just like a shot?
shorter. It's like shorter bursts. Like espresso, a little less caffeine than like just like a straight cup of black coffee. So like I have found that I can like have a double shot of espresso. Well, this is a cappuccino, but it's 2 shots of espresso. And I found that. Notice how I started talking faster when I started talking about coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee, let's go.
Passionate.
I could like kind of have this every couple hours and still go to sleep at the end of the night.
Yeah,
Just
me
find that
too.
to be a cleaner ride.
Yeah.
But still, I woke up this morning and I made a pot of coffee. So that was so we're going for it. I guess.
Yeah.
I
There's
get-
just something nice about the routine of like waking up in
Yeah.
the morning and like making a pot of coffee.
I've got the Keurig, which I know is awful, but then it has the little frother.
Yeah, the frother's where
So
it's
I'll
at.
do that now. I put the little cream in there
Uh-huh.
and froth it. But then I'm so trashy. I get a venti cold brew from Starbucks
Look.
when I go.
It's
I do love
Shit
a cold brew.
coffee, but it's,
I mean,
but yeah.
honestly,
but
coffee
here's the
from Starbucks is.
I mean,
kind of fucking
it's on brand for you, Benny. It's
But it's
very
gross.
Yeah,
I know.
The thing about it is, though, it's like, I mean, it's like gasoline. So like it
Yeah.
definitely gets the job done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You definitely do get jazzed
The
up.
one thing I will say about Starbucks, especially as somebody who does like a touring musician who tours a shit
Yeah.
ton, you're paying for consistency, and sometimes that's important because like you can really miss with a lot of places.
And
Yeah.
you can really taste the slave labor.
Yeah, that's
you really
for sure.
can, and it's
That's for sure.
It's exuberant. yeah,
It gives you a nice extra little buzz.
palpable. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
for
can
coffee
ride out-
lovers.
I can ride out several shots of espresso throughout a day and usually be okay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem going to sleep at night really with drinking coffee
really
into the
don't.
afternoon. Like last night I don't usually do this, but I was in here last night till probably like midnight and had a cup of coffee at like 9:00.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta like stay
I'm
awake.
usually okay, and like I don't drink anymore, and like when I got the pipeline between sobriety and like a Diet Coke addiction apparently is very real, and I'm in the middle of trying to sort of crack the Diet Coke addiction because like I think that's probably not good either.
It hits though,
And
man.
it's got crisp and
back
it's
of
terrible.
the throat,
It's
crispiness.
just crispy. So I'm in the middle
That's
of
what she said.
Yeah,
I'm in the middle of trying to kill a Diet Coke addiction
Yeah,
because I realize I'm like ripping like 6 a day.
it's one of the better Coke addictions to solve, though.
it's- Yeah, I'm trying to solve several of them. So, and so now I'm just. But the problem is, it's like I kind of forget. Like I stopped drinking Diet Coke maybe a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and kind of like forget like, oh, there's caffeine in Diet Coke because I can definitely tell
Yeah.
that like, oh, when I'm just drinking Diet Cokes all day, I'm on just a steady caffeine buzz
Yeah.
at all times, even
I was
when the
gonna say,
coffee's
you
worn
get,
off.
like, the caffeine
It's a
from the
steady.
Diet
It's like I'm
Coke.
never not basically caffeinated because there's at least a little bit of it. But in my brain, I would just tell myself, oh, that's not real caffeine. That's like caffeine for fucking amateurs.
Yeah.
And I stopped drinking Diet Coke, and I was still just drinking the same amount of coffees. And I was like, oh no, I'm like withdrawing. I'm not having enough caffeine in a day, which is not a good. But
It's funny. I used to
Gotta have something.
I had a double Coke addiction before. I was doing Coke and slamming DC and regular Coke and
Crack cocaine.
and crack cocaine. But it's funny because Coca-Cola originated from cocaine.
Yeah.
So why the 2 and 2 really just pair
Yeah.
nicely. I feel. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it though. Yeah, to anyone.
In modern times, it's been
Yeah.
phased out, but
Yeah, they
really
phased that out.
at one point in history, Really had
pretty amazing.
Really had corporate America.
It is pretty
giving
cool.
us cocaine.
It is pretty cool. There used to be cocaine in Coca-Cola.
I wonder if you really like caught a crazy buzz off of it, if it was just kind of nominal, you know? Like,
Oh, I'm sure you people were.
That is
fucking
pretty rad.
Juiced.
Yeah. Do you think it's maybe the same effect though that like a Monster Energy or something like that would give you, or like a C4, like one of those?
Maybe. I mean, who knows? It's also like, and granted, like, we've really just dirtied the waters in all things between like the food we eat and also probably how clean our drugs are. But like,
Yeah.
I remember distinctly a friend of mine who had gone to like Medellin, Colombia, and had like done cocaine there, and talking about it, he's like, it's so clean, it's like taking an espresso shot. You're high for like
Crazy.
30 minutes and then it's like over.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm not here to promote
Right. No, this is not
directly
promoting
down the
that.
barrel of the camera.
But
they're-
yeah, the shit
But
does
like, it
over
just kind
here.
of makes me think. I was like, yeah, it was probably then. Also, like, I don't know, probably just like a clean little shot of espresso and then over. I don't know.
and
Just pure.
the stuff here, or so I've read.
Yeah.
So I've
Allegedly.
read, is cut with all kinds of shit. And
We got to make it cheaper.
Yeah,
dirty.
That's the
Everything's
American
getting
way.
cheaper
Just-
and dirtier.
but that's just what I've read. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Cheaper and dirtier
Yeah.
as the years go by.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's
that's like
like
20% on average of cocaine that you buy on the street is cocaine. And
Well,
then
you were saying that, like-
80% not cocaine.
And like heroin like doesn't exist anymore. Like
No,
actual
yeah, totally
like
not.
Because of fentanyl.
Yeah,
Yeah?
because of fentanyl.
It's
yeah.
just cheap.
Yep.
like
But yeah,
Wow.
really
like
good
poppy
cocaine.
people don't
You have to know like seriously organized like crime connected people to like get the good cocaine. You
Yeah.
know?
yeah.
Wow.
It's like
But yeah, I just remember distinctly that this friend of mine talking about going to Colombia and like doing coke there on like a bachelor party and being like, it's like really clean. It's like from the earth. It's like,
Yeah.
He's like, it's crazy. It's like doing a shot of espresso and then like it wears off and it's as if it never happened.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway,
that does sound good.
Well, this episode.
Betty, get on the dark web, quick. See
This
what they got.
episode is
We're going to
sponsored
Colombia.
by- This episode is sponsored by cocaine.
By
apparently.
Pablo Escobar
By- yeah.
Incorporated.
that's funny.
Brian,
That's my name.
triple threat, songwriter. Actually, can you dance? I feel like you
I
can dance.
am capable of learning choreography.
That's what I say.
That's what I'm going to
Yeah.
say. I just enough theater experience tells me I am capable
Right.
of learning choreography. I would not go out of my way to say I am a skilled dancer.
I feel like you could beat in a dance off the girl from Australia in the Olympics.
Ray gun.
Yo, that shit was
that what her
tight.
name?
I'm gonna
Big
be
girl
real with
Ray
you.
Gun.
Ray Gun.
I need to
Ray
watch
Gun.
that.
Oh,
The
bro, Ray
breakdancing.
Gun.
I thought I'm gonna be real. I thought that shit was tight.
Will you flip the little silent switch on there?
It was nothing if not original.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it was contemporary.
It was
Contemporary
look
dance.
in a world of copycats. It was at least original. It was truly terrible, but also,
Nobody saw it coming.
but also, no one saw it coming, and we're still talking about it.
Exactly. That's what good art is.
I like
It's
that they've like.
polarizing.
I like that they immediately eliminated breakdance. We're like, we can't have breakdancing in the Olympics anymore.
Yeah.
LA's like, not on my watch.
Yeah,
we gave it
not.
one shot. Can you imagine ruining something for everyone, while also simultaneously making it like the most talked about discussion of the Olympics?
I need to watch it. I heard about
You haven't
it.
seen
It's
any
pretty
of
wild.
like
see
the,
it. I didn't see
She
it.
not
does this like
because-
horizontal worm, like you know the worm when you're
Yep.
like on the ground.
Yep.
But she does it like while she's on her side, so she's like writhing around worm.
It's interesting.
It's a
It is. It was
very
like,
strange.
It was
move.
so crazy because I'm like, is this real? Is this trolling? Is it like you didn't know? Like you
Yeah.
were like, it was wild. But I did see like a clip where she was like basically, I don't know if she like necessarily apologized, but just like explained. And I was like, no, that seems like it was real.
Explained her process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no explaining a dance. you know? I feel like if you have
Do
to
I feel
explain
like-
it, it's like
Well,
that's
if
it, you
you're
know?
that, have you guys seen Corey Feldman?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
my
Like
God.
in general, like in the world, or like a specific thing.
Have
like
you
the
ever seen
videos-
Corey Feldman?
like the,
I've seen him out in the wild before, so I
In
have
person?
physically seen. Yes, one
like
time.
perform?
No, he was like at a nightclub in a, like I
Okay.
can't remember. He was at a club when I was in a club in like 10 years ago or something like that, and I was like,
These
I thought it was Skrillex. It was actually Corey Feldman.
Yeah, they do
Straight
kind
up,
of
I'm
a
definitely
similar.
not even
quantum
I
parallel
thought
universe.
it was Skrillex. It was Corey Feldman.
No, that makes sense actually. Yeah.
This dude, you have to watch some of his performances.
Yeah, I've seen
They're
stuff.
like, again, is this real? Is this dude trolling?
He invented trolling.
I got to give it to you though.
Yeah.
Give it to him though. It is entertainment.
It is, but
To the
it's not
max.
intentional.
No,
It's
I know.
not, but
I know.
But he should now embrace it
Yeah.
as trolling.
Yeah,
and that would be the right move.
I wish that he could reframe and be like, and understand that like it's not great, but it's how he expresses himself, and that's wonderful and that's fine.
if he owned it in
But
the
if he
right
owned
way,
it in a way that's like, look, like yeah, like you said, just like trolling.
but he is genuinely really putting his best
Yeah,
effort
yeah,
forward,
yeah.
and it's like the worst thing you've ever seen. Michael Jackson basically like co-signed him, and that just like completely
Yeah.
blew his head open.
Like when he was like 15.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's like he's on Howie, whatever, one of those dudes talk people, and talking about, he was like, yeah, like I forget what song he said of his. He was like, but Michael said this was going to be number one. And
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Yeah, he's had sort of a sordid past too. I mean, obviously with the child star thing and whatever.
that's a
you know.
tough thing to
It's
overcome.
a tough, yeah.
Like
it's really
that,
tough.
that takes a
To be
special-
jaded by the industry like that, I'm sure he was like so poorly treated. Like,
Yeah.
He said he was
based
going
on-
to take down the Hollywood pedophile cabal, but then I don't really remember him like naming any crazy names or
Right.
anything.
yeah.
Maybe he
Still waiting.
No,
I only remember I've read stuff over the years about it, but I don't remember a lot of details. But I just remember it was pretty sordid stuff.
Yeah.
that he had to go through.
Yeah. Everybody watch Corey Feldman. You'll be
I'm
entertained.
Honestly, I'm in full support. Like, because it's enjoyable. It's.
But he also like treats his band like shit.
Yeah.
I did notice that. Like he's like a total asshole to them. There's like his guitar player starts tuning. He's like, terrible time to tune your guitar, bro. Like terrible time.
Oh, and then you sent me the clip the other day where he starts, and I've done this before too. So I mean, it sucks. And where he like goes to the mic and like hits his face on the mic before he's about to sing. Oh man,
It's like so bad. That's where it's like, just embrace that you're trolling. That's
Yeah.
like your lane.
I
Yeah.
think he would ruin the effect though if he like.
yeah,
Yeah, then it wouldn't
acknowledged
be
it.
as,
It wouldn't be as fun,
as
you
funny.
know,
Yeah,
yeah.
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 Oh yeah, there's a lot of good Corey Feldman videos out there these days, but everybody watch them. Okay, so Brian,
Yes, that can't beat Ray Gun. I don't think I could beat Ray Gun in a dance. I think I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Could I beat her in a
again,
dance?
That's
well,
like
breakdancing, here's the thing. No, and okay, I'll answer this question logically. Like I said, I'm capable of learning choreography. But like to just go out and just start fucking dancing on my
Yeah.
own interpretation, I don't know. That's pretty brave.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm out. I can't take her.
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
never gonna
that's,
never gonna compete in breakdancing.
Yeah.
yeah.
You were asking me
Maybe.
a question, and I was
What
still
about
thinking
what
about Ray
Olympic
Gun.
event would you want to compete in if you could pick one?
Oh boy, are we talking summer or winter?
Whatever you want. Let's go summer because it just happened.
Ah, damn, I was gonna go
I
winter.
feel like
No,
tennis
no
would
winter.
be your.
I mean, tennis would be the one I'd probably like enjoy the most to compete in. But like, man, there's some weird shit that happens in the Olympics that like only happens in the Olympics, and those seem more fun. Like, who's
Handball.
still doing shot put? Like,
Right.
that's interesting to me.
That's
Like,
yeah, and those
shot
dudes
put.
literally
I mean,
look like
huge brutish people.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like
That's who's
Vikings.
They're
doing
like
shot put.
Vikings.
Yeah.
I
World's
tell you,
strongest man.
tell you
type.
one clip I saw was the pole vaulting.
Yeah,
See the
That's-
guy
Wiener
knock
got,
the swing
yeah,
his
not-
dick on the.
yeah. There's some. What I like about the Olympics is like you start to remember what sports have been around since
Yeah.
like the beginning of time.
BC.
Yeah, like BC, it's like, oh, we still do that.
Yeah.
I mean, tennis is probably my answer, I feel
Yeah.
like.
yeah.
But then
Tennis
like
is having a good moment in the cultural zeitgeist.
racket sports in general is
Yeah.
like all the fucking
Pickleball.
rage,
Crushing.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that knocked the pole over with his hog was
Yeah.
pretty epic.
Doink.
Yeah.
Doink.
I think like the one I'd really dude, I want to talk Winter Olympics for a second though, because if I could pick one, it'd be curling. Curling
yeah,
is
that
so
looks
crazy.
fun. Yeah.
Curling is
Yeah.
one of those things where if you would have asked me a couple years ago to like place a bet, I would have been like, oh, curling, I could definitely compete in curling. How hard can it be?
Yeah.
There's a place in Nashville that's like a Top Golf where you
Yep.
can like get drunk, but like you can curl.
Good idea.
And Nashville,
On, like, ice?
yeah, oh yeah, it's so tight.
Yeah.
And I did it a year ago. It is so fucking hard.
yeah.
And
Oh,
it looks
sure.
so easy. Curling is the answer. I want to
Yeah.
learn how to curl.
That's the little
Yeah,
little
you have the
sled
little-
thing.
The
No,
get down.
no, that's
that's bobsled.
that's
No,
the
no, no, no.
that's
It's
basically
shuffleboard. It's ice
It's
shuffleboard.
shuffleboard on
yeah,
ice,
I
and it
got it,
is
yeah.
so gnarly.
Yeah.
To like, just the way
It's
you
very sensitive.
the
Yeah.
way it's just passing the thing down the ice is harder than it looks.
Yep.
The brushing or whatever they call it, sweeping,
Yep.
so much harder than I thought it was going
And
to be.
so
Looks like a
stressful
workout.
too.
Stressful. It's like a workout. Like my arms were sore for like a week.
Yeah.
So curling would be tight. It would be really rad if I just randomly was like, Brian Dale, singer, songwriter, blah 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 blah, curler. Like that would be like a pretty cool bio.
Quadruple
resume for
threat.
me. Quadruple threat.
I told Benny before you got here, I'm looking into I've had an obsession over the last year of like paragliding and paramotoring.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Probably dangerous, but I think I'm gonna give it a shot. And because you can like pay, I don't know, a couple of grand and you get like unlimited training. And it's just like
cool.
anytime you go out there, like there's one in Malibu.
Yeah.
Anytime you go out there, they're just like, all right, we'll give you a lesson, whatever. And then you
Malibu
have
would
to-
be a good place to die.
Yeah, you have to like, I mean, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna slam into a mountain in Malibu. Yeah,
Somewhere beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
but
last
They start you
hiding.
out with the parachute training,
Yeah.
and then you do that for a little while, and then you add the motor later. But I'm very intrigued.
Have you
by
ever
it.
parasailed?
Yeah,
Like in
just
Florida?
off of a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be like,
So there's a version of it with a motor.
yeah,
That is
Yeah.
fucked up.
It's like a go-kart in the air.
It kind of dark parallel here. I don't mean to bring
love
the
a dark
morale
parallel.
down, but the Israel attack with Hamas, they flew in
Yeah.
on paramotors. That's not why.
That
I
seems
wanna
like an
do it.
inefficient
Yeah.
military
Yeah, it feels like
tactic.
Yeah, my
we're
algorithm like
giving this much money to the Israeli army for
they
them
have
to
a wall.
ride in on motors.
Yeah.
yeah.
Billions of dollars into the paramotor.
Here, we're gonna give you billions of dollars. Make sure you ride in on a parasailing.
No. Hamas got the billions.
No,
I mean,
yeah,
Hamas
this
had
was
the
this,
paramotors.
what I mean. This was the
Yeah.
October 7th attack.
Oh, Hamas
The
got it.
terrorists,
Hamas
yeah.
has paramotors.
Makes more
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
Hamas did it, not Israel.
Yeah, Hamas got it. Yeah,
they
yeah,
have the
fuck
right
'em.
equipment. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like-
no, but I started going down the rabbit hole of that, and I'm like, I like a little extreme stuff. I bought a jet ski
pretty
this,
into extreme
this
stuff.
summer. I've mentioned on the podcast before.
You'd be on the X Games versus. the
Yeah, I would do the
Olympics.
X Games. Like, I want to learn to surf. Dylan still needs to teach me to surf. Like, I want to do stuff like that before I'm old. So,
Yeah, you're getting there.
yeah,
You're right on the cusp.
From older.
Yeah,
Let's
So,
go. Let's go this week.
I would love to.
I'll text you about it.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, surfing would be a good Olympic
Yeah.
choice too.
Yeah.
But okay, so Brian,
Yeah.
back to triple threat. Dancer, obviously, we have that
Yeah.
established.
When you think triple threat, first threat is definitely my dancing.
Yeah, that's established. But songwriter, singer, actor, all the above. Where did it all start? Which of the triples
Which
was
of the
first?
triples? Music happened pretty young. I mean, it feels like the kind of thing. I remember writing my first song when I was like fucking 8. It's terrible.
Did you like start playing guitar?
No,
Were
I
you
took
singing
piano.
first.
Singing was kind of the last piece of the puzzle. Took piano lessons as a kid.
So that was your first instrument.
First instrument was piano, but like it was one of those things. Like my uncle found like home video footage from like when I was like 3 and sent it to me last year, and like it's footage of me at like 2 years old with like a lineup of like toy instruments. So it's like very clearly it was like, oh, and I would like go play my toy piano, and then I'd go over to my toy guitar, and then I'd go hit my toy drum, and I was like, my parents must have fucking hated me. So it was just like it was embedded immediately. My parents don't play anything, but like they're music lovers and have really good tastes, so it was very encouraged, the music stuff.
What was the music playing while you were growing up in the house?
a lot of Bruce Springsteen and like
Yeah.
Tom Petty and like a lot of. We're from Detroit, a lot of like Bob Seger, sort of like dad rock stuff that I still embody to this day. But then like I remember like being like in like 8th grade or my freshman year of high school, like my mom would drive like my friend who lived down the street and I like to school every day. And like I discovered like Ryan Adams and Damian Rice and shit from my mom. Like she would like find these CDs and like because she really liked like sort of early 2000s singer songwriter. And like I found all these sort of singer songwriters just like my mom putting on CDs in the car and shit like that.
That's
like
cool.
Damian Rice and Ryan Adams and like
Damian Rice was the jam.
And, like, Jose
in
Gonzalez
ninth
and
stuff
stuff
Sad
like
boy,
that.
sad boy stuff.
Sad boy
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
like so that was kind of like it was just really good music taste. Like I remember I have like photos of me at like 2 years old running up and down the aisle at like a Bruce Springsteen concert with a plastic guitar, like putting on a show for the show kind of thing. So it was clear it was like, oh, this has been there forever. I took piano lessons as a kid and it like half stuck. I was not fully committed to doing it. So learned a little, took a break. Took guitar lessons when I was in like 7th grade and like basically I'm no better at guitar today than I am when I was in 7th grade. I learned enough to write. I was like, okay, well I can now play like my campfire chords and like my bar chords. And it's my approach with, I guess it's the same with piano. And like, you know, this from working on stuff with me, what I'm trying to say is like, I think without knowing it, what I wanted out of instruments was like enough to be able to write songs. And I never really felt like learning more about mastering said instrument. So I think most roads led to like, oh, I just have wanted to be a songwriter. How can I get myself there? Like, I kind of wish I was better at guitar and wish I was better at piano, but I'm like, I'm good enough to get my job done.
Yeah.
And then pass it on to somebody who's better at fleshing stuff out. But the first instrument that like really stuck for me was drums.
Oh, interesting.
I think I thought I told you this. I'm not very
Oh,
good.
no, I do remember this.
I played in like punk bands and drums when I was in middle school and like
Yeah.
my first couple of years. I was not very good, but the part about that is like honestly been more useful than all of them is like I like communicating. I like kind of think of everything in drums first. It's like when we send songs back and forth, I'm usually talking to you about like kick snare patterns before I'm talking about anything else. If you've ever thought about it, so like I don't consider myself a drummer, but like I think of feel and drum stuff usually honestly before I think of much else.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I played in like shitty punk and emo bands when I was in middle school and my first couple of years of high school as the drummer. It was terrible, but like I played drums left-handed, which proved immediately to be a pain in the ass because I could never share kits with anybody. So I was just always doing like way more work, and I was like, God, this job sucks.
Yeah, drummers have it hard enough.
And then I had to play, and I was like, an open-handed, I didn't like open-handed, and I was just like, okay, so this sucks. I'm just doing twice as much work. Like, I can't just like share a kit at a show with somebody because I have to rearrange the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And so I hated that. And then this crazy thing happened. I can't remember if it was the end of my sophomore year of high school or my beginning of my junior year, but this girl I had a crush on was in my school student government. So I, like a very smart person, joined my school student government because all I saw was a way to spend more time hitting on her. And what me and a couple of my guy friends did, we were like, man, best way to meet girls is just hang out in my school student government. They're all there. This is great. All my guy friends abandoned this really quickly. They were like, this sucks. And then there I was, like me and my one other friend in my school's like student body government. And at my high school, each class in my student government was sort of responsible for planning one major school event. So like the juniors planned prom for the seniors planned homecoming. My sophomore class, which I was at the time, planned our school's like Battle of the Bands event. And so I kind of ended up getting put in charge of planning this Battle of the Bands. It seemed very quickly that none of the girls in my student body class had any interest in planning a Battle of the Bands for a bunch of just like shitty dudes who wanted to play hardcore. So
That was my gateway.
literally, like, oh yeah, my
The
gateway
Battle of
was
the Bands.
my gateway was Thrice.
Yeah.
I like literally just wanted to play.
Fuck yeah.
I wanted to play wanted to play drums and like I played drums in like a band with like the world's worst singer screamer. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Anyway, I'm planning this Battle of the Bands event and had this idea when I was like 15 that ironically now was like, I clearly instinctively knew what I was doing because every festival you ever go to does dual stage things. But I was like, okay, well, the stage is in the gym. Let's have a stage in the lobby of the gym for like acoustic stuff. So there's no downtime. It's like, we'll have people play. And then when there's the turnover, they can watch acoustic acts like play in like the lobby. This idea totally lands, except for the fact that I can't get anyone to sign up to play. So my ass is on the line, and me and my like one friend who played guitar were like, I guess like let's like learn like a 30-minute set of some acoustic covers, and I'll sing, and like we'll play like acoustic in the lobby, like in between acts or something like that. And we do, and I'm just convinced I'm doing this just to like not get in trouble / kill some time, and thinking I'll probably make a fool out of myself, but whatever. I'd never sang in front of anybody. And I'm also remember trying to impress a girl. So I'm also like, remember, I'm very much trying to impress a girl. So
that's why we get into anything.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to impress a girl. And so, and I just want this whole event to be just this triumph. So, and my, by the way, my band that I'm playing drums in, that's like a shitty screamo band, we're playing like the actual like stage, and I'm like, and that's like the focus in my brain. But I'm like, yeah, I'll play acoustic in the lobby during one of the changeovers, and so I do, and it's like a home run. And my screamo band is like, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
I like play acoustic, and I was like, wait a second, this is what it feels like to like sing and be in front and like have like everyone look at you like you're cool. This is interesting. And I pretty much never played drums ever again.
Like,
I was like, wait a second.
On that.
I was like, wait a second. Singing, more tension,
Yeah.
less stuff to move, no more like left-handed drum kit bullshit. Like, this is interesting. And sort of the rest was history. And like, so I grew up in Arizona in the Phoenix area, but like in a town at the very tip top of Phoenix, like that's effectively almost the middle of nowhere.
What's the name of the town?
It's called Carefree.
That's right.
Well, so there's two like sister towns. There's Cave Creek and Carefree. They're next to each other. They're almost one town divided in half. But like I went to the high school's in Cave Creek, so I went to high school there. The two towns combined are population like 5,000. So it's pretty small. It's still like technically in Phoenix. It's kind of like almost like being in like Topanga Canyon. It's like tiny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're still in LA, but like, are you? Yeah. And so, I do this, and I was like, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, and this whole singing thing's kind of fun. And then I was like, and so I spent like the next year, like my junior year of high school, just like kind of playing acoustic at like school events and like coffee shops in this area. But like, I didn't branch out even into Scottsdale or Phoenix in any capacity. And it was till the end of my junior year of high school, going into the beginning of my senior year, where like my friend that I would always play with, for these like a little acoustic coffee shop things, because I wasn't that good at guitar, so I needed some assistance. He was a year older, so he was graduating and he was like going to college, and so I'm approaching my senior year, and it was kind of like I really love this music thing. Do I want to try that? Like, it's kind of like we're at a crossroads. I got to figure out what I want to do here. My friend is moving on. Like, am I just going to keep playing coffee houses in Carefree, Arizona? And then this sort of thing happens where, so my band, the Somerset, there's two brothers and Jess, our drummer. The three of them were in like a local band in the Scottsdale area when they were in high school. That was like a pretty popular local band. Like they were like the local add-on to a lot of, like if a touring show needed a local act, they would kind of be like the go-to. And Phoenix was like a pretty popular scene at the time. This is like 2006. And I knew them, and Steven and we'd run into each other at shows. Like there was no like venues up where I was. So like if I wanted to go see a show, I would venture off into Phoenix. And, so we kind of knew each other. Long story short, toward the end of my junior year of high school, I see this thing on MySpace from like their local band that they're breaking up and looking to start a new band with a new singer. And so I messaged Steven and I was like, hey, I'm like maybe a little interested in doing this. And I went over to his house and we like sang a couple songs, and suddenly I was doing a band. And
Somerset was born.
And now 17 years later, I'm still doing that band.
Crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
It's awesome.
Did you win the Battle of the Bands though?
No, I did not.
Did you win the
battle.
girl?
For a short period of time?
Yeah.
That's all it
That's
takes.
yeah. That's all. That's
That's
it.
more important. I won the girl in that moment. It's probably for the best that I didn't win the girl permanently.
Yeah.
Pretty sure she like lives in like Kentucky now and is like,
That's where I'm from.
wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Finish your statement though.
Happily
I'm pretty sure
engaged
she's
now.
in Kentucky on meth.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure she's
That
like.
lines up.
Pretty sure the
checks out.
I was literally
Pretty
about to
sure.
say before you even said she's in from Kentucky. I was like, and now she's in a trailer smoking meth.
I'm pretty sure she's in a
And
trailer in
she
Kentucky smoking
is.
meth. I'm almost positive.
The meth
So
got her.
like, I'm pretty sure.
It'll get you.
Yeah, I'm
Get
pretty
the
sure
best
that's
of
kind of
us.
how that played out. But at the time, I just wanted her attention and I got it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Thanks, debate club.
Yeah.
student body.
Student body.
government.
Yes.
Debate
Yeah.
club, we're not planning anything. And also, I'm a terrible debater. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
a lot
debate,
of pressure. In
my
a
debate strategy is like, okay, you win. I'm
Yeah.
out.
Well, mine is nuh-uh. And, yeah.
Start mocking them.
My
Just
debate,
repeat them.
my debate strategy is like, yeah, man, that's cool.
I can't come up with the information in time that I know,
Sure.
but I
Sure.
So you think about it like a day
I think
later.
about it later. And I go, God.
Let me just text that person really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I should have said.
Hey, this is
Yeah.
what I meant to tell you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Inflation's up only because no.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not good for debate. I do like
you guys
planning an
got some
event.
psycho politicians there in Arizona.
Yeah, we got a couple off the deep end.
You
we have
follow Carrie Lake.
she's
that
a nutcase.
whore.
She's a nutcase.
What a
She's
bitch.
been a nutcase forever.
She's a nut.
She was on TV in our state. Like I was like,
yeah.
here's the thing: no one's taking her seriously. She's not gonna. Win.
Yeah.
No one. She's gonna lose every race she goes up.
She's
the
a
one
pretty
thing,
lady. She's
Yeah,
a
the
dark,
one thing
She
that's
is?
like
She's pretty.
So
the one thing that's like Arizona being sort of a swing state and kind of being this like kind
Right.
of purple-esque. Obviously, it went blue in the last election, which was kind of a surprise to me.
Right.
All of that's pretty cool. And the one thing I will say is like, yeah, we got some psychos, but it is a good sign that Carrie Lake has already lost an election.
yeah.
Blake Masters, who ran for Senate a couple years
Right.
ago, that dude is a fucking
Freak.
creep.
Yeah.
And he lost too. So like, it's
Yeah.
clear we have some psychos, but it seems like we're good at voting against
The
them.
MAGA
So-
shit is
They
dying.
just get the headlines because they're crazy.
Yeah, they're loud. Like,
She's still claiming she lost or she won that election,
she's
the
a
governor's
fucking-
race or whatever.
She was on TV.
yeah, she was on TV in
Yeah.
Arizona as like a newscaster when I was a kid.
She's sharp. She's well spoken.
yeah.
but she's just an idiot.
She's like a female Trumpy. She's just
Yeah.
like a person. She's a TV personality who's like, I'm gonna get into politics.
Did you? I don't know if you follow. I listen to a lot of different political podcasts daily, but Tim Miller's one that I really like. And
I know who that. I haven't listened.
He
but like,
corners her. There's like this viral video
Yeah.
where he corners her. He's like, "You can just get it. You can get out. You can stop. Can't you just admit?
Mm-hmm.
You know this. You probably would have won your governor's race if you weren't, going
Oh,
to bat
no.
for Trump. You know
the thing, that
Yeah.
straight up, I think she would have won.
Yeah.
if she actually didn't fucking go full Trump.
She's
cheerleader.
an attractive,
Arizona
well-spoken person.
Arizona
she would have
wants
done
a
well.
Arizona wants a Republican.
Yeah.
They don't want a fucking
Yeah.
MAGA TV personality.
No.
That's like,
Yeah.
because I know a lot of people in Arizona who are like old school Republican who
Yeah.
still are, and they're just kind of like have no identity right now.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, if she didn't sort of like just like attach herself to the Trump thing so hard, she would have absolutely won.
What'd you
She's
guys-
everything they want.
What'd you guys think about the Dylan? I want to pick your brain on this. What'd you think about the second assassination attempt the other day?
I mean, I don't even know that many details about
Yeah,
it. He
I
was
don't.
in the bushes with an AK-47, but he didn't fire any shots.
fire
I don't
anything?
know.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know,
plant.
man.
We need a
I
segment
don't
for
know.
Dylan, just like Conspiracy Corner with Dylan.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
a recurring
I'm in on Conspiracy Corner.
segment.
Yeah.
It would kind of like, if Trump was faking these assassination attempts, it would kind of make sense to like do a bunch of them, just like
Yeah,
really
yeah.
push it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Just
know?
go so far.
Like fire hose of truth or whatever, just blast people with it, and just like scramble everyone's circuits. Like,
There's-
what's going on?
and there's an
Like,
assassination.
Quantity over quality.
Assassination attempt every 3 days.
Right, up until the election.
Up
Yeah,
until the
you know?
election. He's like, yeah, one of these is gonna work.
At the end, he's like in the ER, like, I see you, like,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm going to fight.
It's
Like,
look,
wins
I
in a
don't think we
landslide.
Still
should,
gets the fist
you know,
up.
yeah,
I don't think we should be assassinating
No.
even my worst enemies, but at the same time, until you give a fuck anytime anyone else gets shot, I don't give a fuck if you do.
Right.
Like,
right.
Like, I don't want you to get shot.
You gotta
but I also
earn
like
the
if you don't care,
concern.
I don't care.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
Sort of unrelated, but I was thinking about this the other day when I saw him on a lot of television.
Right.
Do you guys think Matthew McConaughey is going to run for office at some point?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's prepping
It's gonna-
for it.
it's
Oh,
gonna
no,
happen.
yeah.
It's going to
And
happen.
he's
100%.
charismatic as
Oh,
He'll win.
fuck. He
Whatever
will
he
win.
runs for, he'll win.
He'll run for governor of Texas at some point.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
It seemed like a couple of years ago
He's
he was
pushing
kind
it.
of prepping for it and then backed off, which I actually thought was kind of smart.
Yeah.
Because there was talk of him trying to run in 2020. It was like bubbling. And granted, I don't know anything. I'm on the outside here. But like, and then he kind of had, because I remember him making a statement saying, I am not running. Because I think so many people thought he was going to.
Uh-huh.
And to me, like, you almost make that statement of saying, like, I'm interested.
seed's planted.
The seeds are planted.
Mark this moment
God.
here.
I
We're
don't know.
predicting
What
the
a-
future.
What a cinematic experience the campaign ads will be. Though.
Oh, I know.
It'll be in a Lincoln,
It'll be in a Lincoln.
and it'll be his inner thoughts and everything.
Well, at the
yeah.
U.S. Open, he was wearing
Yeah.
the American flag bandana or like
Yeah.
headband. I was
Cool.
like, oh, this is
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
This is coming.
I think he'll.
Yeah.
My gut says he runs for governor of Texas sometime in the next.
Well, I think
like
that's,
good
I
old
think that'd be
Matthew
a great
McConaughey.
thing. I think that'd be great.
I think
Seems
so,
like
too.
every time I've ever heard him talk, I'm
Love
like,
Interstellar.
Here's what
Yeah.
I like.
Great
McConaughey.
Does that
He's
make
in,
you
but
a good
love
politician?
Interstellar.
Yeah.
McConaughey.
Does that qualify you?
McConaughey seems for everybody, which is
Yeah.
what I do kind of like.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I don't know anybody. Like, he seems like he's maybe could be the only person. Everyone's like,
He's like
we're
the next
gonna-
JFK.
Everyone's like, every politician's like, we're gonna unite.
Oops.
We're gonna unite
Not
the
the
country.
assassination part.
Everybody's kind of like, we're gonna unite the country. And honestly,
He's a-
the only person who I think can might be McConaughey.
Right.
Just get Tom Hanks up there. Go straight
Yes!
for fucking
Yeah, get
America's
Tom.
dad,
Tom has
you
my
know?
vote.
I mean, that's who you need.
Yeah.
Although I
Chet
guess
be
people
vice
already-
president.
All right.
Have you seen Chet Hanks?
Oh, yeah, fucking yeah. I have seen Chet.
We
Hanks.
love some Chet Hanks.
Oh, we
He's
do.
so
we
tight.
love some
We
Chet Hanks.
do.
I like that Tom Hanks has just this like fucking white rapper looking son.
Well, he plays bass. I saw him and
Yeah.
like kind of sings.
Yeah.
Like he
I know
like
he's
was
mostly
singing
tapped
some
into
like
music stuff.
R&B
And, like-
playing chords on the bass and like singing some R&B
I like knowing
shit.
that
And
Tom Hanks.
it wasn't amazing.
I
but
like
it,
I do like knowing that Tom Hanks' two sons are Colin Hanks.
Yeah.
And then like what's the opposite?
literally
Chet.
It's
polar
like what is the
opposites.
bizarro version of Colin Hanks? It's like
Yeah.
here's this brother with tattoos everywhere.
But as far as I've seen or heard, I believe Tom's like super on board. He's like, yeah, man,
He
whatever
seems
you want
super
to do, like,
supportive.
Tom
cool.
Hanks is the coolest motherfucker
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm convinced the world started to take COVID seriously when Tom Hanks got it first of all the
I think
Yeah.
we
celebrities.
talked about this. It was
Of all the celebrities
shit
to get
serious.
it first, it was like, oh wait, you mean we could lose Tom Hanks? We
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
fucking lock
We
this
gotta
shit down.
band down the hatches, close it
I'm-
up.
That was the day. Yeah.
Like I remember
Close it up.
Tom Hanks got COVID, and I was like, "Oh, we gotta."
It was
fucking
literally
focus.
right before the shutdown.
Yeah.
I remember because I was at the Comedy Cellar in New York,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that was like beautiful material for that night. You know,
was
they're
like,
like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
did you guys just hear Tom?" You know,
We have. I was like, we have to focus. If
we have
Tom
to
Hanks-
focus.
Yeah,
If
guys,
this is like
pull it
this
together.
is- This
might
is
lose Tom.
This is way more serious now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a serious moment.
Tom and a Matthew ticket presidentially would just be
Oh, that'd be like
pretty great.
You'd
You'd get every. I mean, it might just be. I mean, depending on what they ran on, it could be a blue.
I think Matthew McConaughey leans more into libertarianism.
He does.
than-
True.
yeah,
He
I don't
does.
think
but
they're gonna be running
he,
as
I
probably
think
does.
he is wise enough to know that he won't win on that.
I mean,
on the
Texas
independent
governorship
card.
he
No.
could win.
yeah,
Yeah,
Texas
maybe.
governor would be a good starting.
Oh
point.
yeah.
And I would absolutely vote for him for president.
He's already doing the weird like self-help guru thing. Like,
Yeah.
he did that live stream where he like had a conga and was just like, but you didn't see this?
no,
He's
but
like-
of course
he's
he
like,
did.
believe in yourself. This is for like hours.
Yeah.
He
He's
was
like,
believe
Was he
in
like,
yourself.
the fucking
expand.
Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah, no, that's what he's doing. Yeah. He's
just
doing
hitting his
that
chest.
with a conga and like
Yeah.
just spouting like self-help.
Yeah,
aphorisms.
man.
Oh, man,
I
I
read
hope
his
he-
book.
I hope he doesn't go down Russell Brand.
No, I don't think he's going
I don't think
there.
he will.
I don't think
he
he
That
will.
shit is crazy.
Russell Brand, he was too crazy to begin with. Like that
Difference
dude's just
is
like
the difference is Russell Brand's a drug addict.
yeah.
Yeah, and a fast talking British accent.
Yeah.
will-
Yeah, Russell
will
Brand's
fool
is a
people.
little. He's a little. Yeah.
If you have a
just-
British accent and flowery language and vocabulary, you can start a cult. And he
yeah,
has.
yeah. Fucking Russell.
I mean, Russell Brand is a sober drug addict.
Yes.
And
Right.
Matthew McConaughey, I think, is like really likes to party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. Like,
Yeah, Matthew
dichotomy,
McConaughey seems like a
kind of.
whiskey guy, which
Yeah.
is like
Yeah, he
America
seems like
loves
drunk
a
at
whiskey
football
guy.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely drink open container. Yeah.
for
Driving.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Red Solo cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in Vegas and you see Matthew McConaughey, he's gonna have a drink in his
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Predicting, I don't know.
What I like about McConaughey is he'll probably run on some campaign that's like guns and gay rights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna get
just gonna nail both.
Yeah,
he's
he's
just
gonna get the
hit both
greatest
sides.
hits. Get the
Yeah.
greatest hits from everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're calling that now.
Interstellar
on Brian
theme will
Dale's
play
episode
at
of the
all
Brendan Brennan
campaign events. Interstellar theme. You know that
Yes.
whatever piece that
Boom,
people love to play.
bing.
Yeah.
Show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so you guys make songs together? You two?
Yeah, so Brian and I met each other like kind of like right about 4 years ago. It was like a handful of months before COVID. And yeah, I was actually thinking about this morning when I was walking Jupiter. I was like, God, life is so crazy how all the dots just connect. This was when I was living in New York, but I had an apartment out here. I was coming back and forth, and Callie Roddy, who is from
My time.
your hometown.
Callie, the only other person from Cave Creek, Carefree, Arizona, happened to know you.
Yeah,
the only
shout
other
out
person I know
Callie.
from Carefree who's ever left.
Yeah,
That's
we
crazy.
love Callie, and I had a songwriting session with Callie out here. I don't even remember how I got linked with Callie. Maybe my roommate here in LA, Olivia. It was just some random dots. She came over. We wrote a song. And it was fun. We had a great time. And she's like, "Oh, you need to meet my." And Emily was like, kind of like managing her.
Emily was
at the
in
time.
Callie at the time was in a production deal with Emily. I think.
Okay,
Like it was like a
yeah.
management production deal. And from my end over here, so Emily, this aforementioned Emily Wright,
Wright,
that is
legend.
my writing
And you
partner.
know Emily,
I do know Emily, right? Yeah. Mhm.
Connecticut connection.
You know Emily Wright,
I do.
Connecticut.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, my bass player knew her in
Yes.
high school and stuff. Yeah.
I remember. Oh my god, I forgot about all of that.
It's crazy.
That's
it's a
crazy.
small ass world.
Small ass
Yeah.
world.
It is a small ass fucking world.
Music podcast.
Yeah.
There's
So
only so many people.
So Emily and I have been writing songs together for like 12 years. She's written a handful of songs with my band. Long story short, in like 2018, when my band was on hiatus, Emily approached me about writing a musical together, which is kind of what she went to theater school for and stumbled into pop music, but she went to NYU for theater. All that aside, originally I said no, and now 6 years later, we've written a musical. So,
Wow.
but this is about 4 years ago. Emily and I are in the early stages of working on a musical. And yeah, this is right before COVID. I remember it distinctly because I was still a partier back then.
I was gonna say, yeah.
And I think the day I met you,
It's like the last day you
I
drank.
couldn't get out of the fetal position. I was on the couch at Emily's in the fetal. I was so
Rock bottom.
hungover that I was like literally in the fetal position. I just didn't. I was like, man, it's nice to meet you. I can't physically sit up. And here we are still to this day.
Wait, what's the
we are.
musical about?
The musical is called Better Days, and it's wow. I've actually realized I don't think I've ever made a real announcement about it. So here we are.
Official announcement of Better Days. Let's
We're
fucking
a ways away.
go. It's gonna be on
To
Broadway.
keep-
We have
keep-
millions of listeners.
To keep brief, it takes place in a small town in Arizona at a bar on the night before Thanksgiving, set over the course of 3 different years, and it kind of starts at like a 10-year reunion for a group of people, and it fleshes out into a few other things, but it's mostly about just like a group of old, sort of disenchanted high school friends who
It's like The Big Chill.
a little bit. It's the Big Chill in Arizona for millennials, basically.
Gotcha.
It's very Big Chill esque. Ironically, it's funny. That was one of our earliest references, and it hasn't really come up since. So, But yeah, there's a lot of Big
Dylan
Chill.
has his finger on the pulse.
Well, I nailed it.
He
so.
really
yeah, you
is.
fucking nailed it. It's very.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Big Chill was like truly like Big Chill meets Rent was like the first sort of references we ever sort of
Right.
had.
Not to be confused with The Big Short.
Not to be confused with The Big Short,
That's the next musical.
Great film.
which Matthew McConaughey is
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I remember distinctly at this time, Emily and I having this conversation of like, man, at some point, like, we're gonna need like a real sort of like orchestrator, arranger, sort of producer for this music. Like, I'm good enough on piano and guitar to like write, but like, man, we're gonna really want to sort of flesh this out. It's like a musical is a big project of music. And I remember being like, man, yeah, but like, it's like we're in a tricky spot. Like, there's no way there's anybody out there who like knows a little bit of theater, but like maybe grew up on punk bands, who like kind of wants to make pop music, but also like went to music school. I was like, that person can't possibly exist. And then Callie introduces us to Benny.
And
I was like,
flew down
you mean
the
there is
clouds.
somebody who like knows some theater, but not too much theater, because a lot of true like theatrical arrangers and orchestrators just are like too much music. I was like, we talk about this all the time of like, I love like subtle flourishes of like, it's like to me my problem with so much like Broadway musical theater arrangements is it's like there's so much special music like all the time that it makes in return like almost none of it feels that special, because it's like it's just always sort of beautiful stuff happening. It's like, to me, I was like, what if you take the approach of like, and our songs are, it's like a bar musical, so it's kind of singer-songwriter. What happens if you like keep it pretty sparse and then like here's a little element of like something sort of flourishing. And I was like, it would be rad to find a guy who like kind of like grew up on punk and emo bands, but like maybe kind of wants to make pop music, which is where Emily and I come from, but then also like knows a bit about theater. And then we stumbled into meeting Benny.
Yeah.
And now like
It's
Benny,
so crazy.
Benny sort of like, and then since then, Emily and I have written some music for a handful of other things, some like animated stuff, like another sort of musical project that sort of got shelved because of powers that be that were above our pay grade. But Benny has basically done all the arrangement and production for like pretty much anything Emily and I work on.
Cool.
We have a fun team.
So has Better Days been like put on?
No, not yet. We've done
what's
like
the status.
It's early, so we finally finished. So Emily and I had kind of been writing music with no like real sort of book writer for a while, and like we were having some trouble getting from point A to point B story wise, because Emily and I are not writers. And during the pandemic, we ended up getting an agent who paired us with a writer that we love, and it took a couple of years for us to sort of fine tune it. But we finished our first like sort of fully written draft at the beginning of this year.
It's fucking great.
Wow, cool, man.
I think it's really great, and so we've sort of now have spent this year with theater. I've kind of been learning that like, okay, this is a written draft that I think is great, but like it's going to change several more times. Every time you put it on its feet, you make little changes. We haven't put it on its feet yet. We've done like a little table read version of it, but now we're in the stage of like, we're trying to get to our next like sort of reading workshop. We have a director now. We're just trying to like find producer folks. And so right now, like it's on pause, or we're not making any writing changes until we can eventually put it on its feet. There's not really any reason to make any major changes to it until we see it on its feet. So It's a long road. It does make me laugh. I remember distinctly the day Emily called me and we had drinks at a hotel here in LA. She wasn't living here at the time. And we were both sort of languishing about some stuff going on in our lives. And she's like, I want to write a musical. And I was like, you should do that. You like grew up doing theater and like went to NYU for theater. It's like, I know that was your first passion. You should do that. And she was like, no, I want to write a musical with you. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. My only knowledge of musical at the time is like jazz hands and like a pedigree that I definitely don't think I have. I didn't grow up around it in any capacity. But the only thing I did know is like, this shit takes like 10 years for people. Who has that kind of time? Here we are 6 years later. I'm like,
6 years goes by awfully quick.
I was like, oh wow, it's been 6 years. We haven't even done our first, we're finally ready to do our first like workshop.
It's a lot of work.
Like,
yeah.
So that's pretty crazy. It'll be 8 years before we're really moving anywhere. It's like,
Right.
that's kind of funny how that stuff works. It's like, oh, this really is a 10-year. They say it's like a 10-year project.
Yeah,
and
the
it
musical
really
is the long game.
I know.
Long game.
Like I've read, like I know, like In the Heights was like a 10-year project or something
Yeah,
for him.
it
Wasn't
took him
it?
6 years to
To just-
write Hamilton
yeah.
alone.
I know, right? It's like, and also he's writing it alone, but like, you really do it. Like, you have to really love the work without reward, because like you're not getting anything out of it, which is crazy. Because I say this a lot, like this thing could never see the light of day, and the irony is the reward is there. Like I love it. Like even if it never saw the light of day, I got the reward out of making it, which has been really cool. Except it's gonna see the light of day, and it's fucking awesome. So.
For sure. It'll be on Broadway. Also predicting
Benny's
that
calling.
right
Benny has been on Broadway, and if he says it's going to be on Broadway, then
There's
I
a
will take
lot
his words.
worse shit.
There is some
on Broadway.
There is some. There is
That
It's not gonna be the
shit.
worst musical on Broadway.
No,
Yeah,
there
that's
is
for
some
sure.
shit.
Yeah.
I do think the tide is turning because they're watching a lot of like everything is just based on IP, and all of it's closing after like 3 months. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I think we're learning that like, or like everything is like just so.
Jukebox musical.
Jukeboxes, and yeah,
Yeah.
ironically, sometimes the jukebox stuff works. Because you got to think like Broadway is for tourists.
Yeah.
100%.
It's for, from a business model. This shit is for the people in Indiana who have come to New York and have a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And like, while at the same time, I love the fact that like we have had a lot of stuff that's more serious and like really, it's a thin line, because I saw at the end of the day, I think there's like a lot of people who don't always want to go see something on Broadway and just be taught a lesson. I think we've forgotten the entertainment part of entertainment to some degree. So I do think the tide's going to shift a little bit toward that. And we're going to just allow, like, our show is just like a feel good comedy that's also going to make you cry. But like the songs also just are like pop rock. And I don't
It's not
think,
going to try to convince you to make your kids trans.
well, it
Yeah,
might make
like
your
some
kid,
of them
it's,
shows up there.
it's
and
probably
queer.
actually, it's going to make your kids trans.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's probably going to.
Yeah.
Broadway all LBGT
But-
plus
IA.
IQ
Oh, man.
plus S.
AI,
AI.
freaking AI.
AI.
This is an ally podcast.
Yeah, it is.
But,
Brennan is a representative.
I'm the house gay.
The house gay.
Yeah.
Man, there's a gay character in Better Days who is my favorite character in the entire show. I think he's the funniest fucking character I've
Well,
ever seen on the page. And I can say that because I didn't write it. I truly think he's the funniest character I've ever read.
Well, I would love to audition.
It's y'all, yeah, you're in.
Yeah, put Brennan in
He
there.
is the funniest fucking
Oh yeah,
character.
you should definitely be in it.
Dude,
I would absolutely love to.
there's
Yeah.
Just give him that part right now.
that character.
Are you offering them
Cast.
more? Just
It's
say
First
it.
role. Well,
Say
you're
it.
the first role.
He is he's my favorite character in the show. He is the funniest fucking character I have ever read on paper. I can't even get over it.
I would love to audition.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Your
Dance.
auditioned is done.
I can.
You have to dance
just like-
now.
I can learn choreography just like you said.
Yeah,
I
I'm
did theater.
choreography capable. Is about
I
where I'm
haven't
at.
done theater in many years, but I've been
Yeah.
really itching to do it. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
hard to do a 6-week rehearsal and then however long the
Sure.
run's going to be when you have gigs as a musician.
Sure.
That's how you make money.
Sure,
you know?
because you can't be doing it for the money. So-
Yeah, when I was in Memphis, I was doing theater some and gigging, and then
Yeah.
I'd take a break from gigging to do some shows.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I would do music direction or be on stage.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah, Broadway could use a good dose of some good shit.
I think it's funny. There's a lot of shit on Broadway that I think is terrible lately. There's a lot of shit that I think is incredible. But a lot of the incredible stuff is like kind of heavy, kind of serious. I think it's some of the best shit I've ever seen. But I don't know if people, I remember like the sort of rent head phenomenon and people
Yeah.
wanting to see this show over and over again, or like when Book of Mormon came out and people wanted to keep
Hilarious.
going back
Yeah.
in these songs that like, I remember when we started working on this, I didn't really know a ton about theater, but at one point I realized I was like, oh, I can do what a switch went off and I was like, oh wait, I can just like write songs the way I like to write songs, but in like a 2-hour format. That's really interesting.
Right.
And it can kind of exist in a bar and it feel like all my love of like
Right.
sort of Springsteen, but also like pop music kind
And
of
you
thing.
will play in the show as well.
I would like to.
Yeah.
I'm learning very quickly at how slow this process is. At
Right.
some point, I might be too old to do it. But
Yeah.
we got some gray hair. In the
Age is just a
beard up
number.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that in Hamilton, Lynn is playing the range of like 20 to like 70. So
Yeah.
if you really
No,
unpack
you definitely
it,
had
Yeah.
mid 20-year-olds playing children.
yeah,
So
I know. So anything is possible. I would like to do it.
you're entering a different world once you
I
enter
would
the
I would
theater.
like to do it until I can't anymore. But what was I gonna say? I think sort of rule number one we started doing it is like I want there to be songs that can just also like live outside of the show and still be enjoyable. That's one of my favorite things from certain musicals.
Well,
Is,
that's like where theater struggles the most, in my opinion.
especially lately.
Oh yeah, it's like there's no bangers.
I
Dude,
wanna
It's just
see-
a bunch of.
I want to see
fluff.
the Sufjan Stevens musical,
Sure.
Illinois,
Yeah, so
because
do I.
I love that record.
Yeah, I think I really want to see it. I've heard
Yeah.
it's just beautiful.
Is that how it's pronounced? Illinois?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's-
Illinois.
'cause it-
No.
Oh, like Illinois.
No, the state Illinois is.
But it's written as Illinois
The
with the E
show
at
is
the
end.
Illinois.
Got it.
Yeah,
got it.
But that's mostly a dance through music. It's like
I was hoping
more
that's
of
just
a-
how you pronounce.
Yeah, and you
Illinois.
missed it for like 33 years
That's so
of your
crazy.
life. You're just like, oh, yeah. It's
but, like, man-
Illinois?
If you take it back to like early stages, golden age musical, like fucking
Cole Porter.
Yeah.
dude, like
Fucking
Send
Rodgers
in-
and Hammerstein?
Send in the Clowns is like
Right.
one of Frank Sinatra's like biggest songs. Is
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
Sondheim song. It's like
Yeah.
so you used to have these songs that were like these big. That's well back then
They
theater-
were the pop
They
songs.
were
Well,
the
at
pop
the end of the
songs.
day, theater was pop music.
Yeah.
Once upon a time.
Love that.
They were the hits.
There's a reason Wicked is still running.
I was
Because
about
there's
to say.
there are 5 songs in Wicked
Yeah.
that are literally bigger than the entire show
Right.
in
Yeah.
some ways.
Bangers.
And which is also funny because there are a couple songs of Wicked that are truly the worst thing I've ever listened to.
Yeah.
But
like-
Defying Gravity,
Well, sure. Or like
yeah. You can
you
fucking
can get away with anything after that.
Yeah, it's like there's just some stuff that's like larger than life, which I think is really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It's what like Sarah Bareilles had her show a couple
Right.
of years ago, and She Used to Be Mine has become a staple
Yeah.
and like a standard almost outside of the show. That's the shit I really like. It's like when a song can be more than just like if Better Days never saw the light of day and I just ended up taking all these songs and putting them on a Somerset record, I'd still love them. Like they all still feel really resonant with me and what I like.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's for me, like in theater, it's like most of the time I'm like, why are we singing? Like, why are we fucking singing right now?
I know.
Why are we fucking singing? Like,
They're at a bar. He said.
We're at a bar and we're
So,
drunk.
It makes sense.
yeah.
Make it make sense.
So Better Days will be on Broadway, predicting that right now, putting that into
Brandon's
the
gonna be.
universe.
He's gonna have a part in it.
I'm the gay.
I'll do the
I'm
lights
gay
if you
guy.
House
want.
gay.
No
You're-
problem.
you're in.
Yeah, just. I'll,
What did you
I'll,
say,
I'll do the
Dylan?
lights.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
in.
Okay. Great.
You
You're
know,
in.
Yeah.
Up and down.
You've got
I'll
just
get a
up,
dimmer switch.
down. Dimmer
Emily will be
switch.
doing
Yeah.
the sound.
Yeah.
You guys will be sitting together.
Yeah.
Old Connecticut.
It could be a
friends.
hit.
Old Connecticut.
You never
God,
know.
I forgot
Yeah.
you know Emily.
That'll be
That's so
great.
crazy.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so let's take it back. Oh, before I do that, have you guys, just speaking about jukebox musicals, have you guys seen the videos of Frankie Valli like performing
yeah.
recently? Oh,
No.
it's honestly like
Oh,
sad.
what a
It's like
night.
it's dude, he's not even singing though. Like that dude is like
That's
like I-
the energy he's giving, though.
he's not even moving his lips. He's like it's honestly I shouldn't be laughing because it's sad. It's like who is forcing this man
Yeah.
to
all
do
the memes,
this?
all the memes are saying that he like owes crazy gambling
Yeah,
debts.
he's-
Obviously,
yeah.
you know, like get back up there. You have to do 500 more shows this year. You know, because he like went too hard at the craps table.
But
Oh,
there's like there's like definitely backing tracks playing of him like singing, but he's just up there like it's really sad.
Oh no.
But you should. They're also
Oh,
low key.
no.
Like you got to see it.
Oh no.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Nobody knows when to hang it up. You know,
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
nobody ever wants to hang it up.
Man,
anymore.
if I had Frankie Valley money, I would have.
Well, he might not
quit a
have
long
Frankie
time
Valley
ago.
money.
Yeah, he doesn't have it anymore. Yeah.
Well, that's what you realize is so many of these people
but the
go
Jersey
broke.
Boys surely makes money off of that show.
Well, I saw a thing the other day. Michael Jackson was like $200 million in debt,
yeah.
allegedly, when he died. Like
Yeah.
he was spending like $20 or $30 million a year more than he was bringing
on
in.
statues.
And
Yeah.
have you seen him going through that store?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, I'll take this.
Dude, all of that
this.
shit was so eye opening. I remember maybe one time, like 10 years ago, working with this producer, who has worked on a lot of Kanye records. And I remember this is like 10 years ago, and he's like, oh, Kanye's never recouped any record he's ever done. I was like, how is that possible? He's like, because he spends $1 million on a castle in France to record it in that he just doesn't care. He's like, the debt is just something he's willing to accrue. It's all the other, he uses it just to then make all the other stuff. He's like, he just is collecting debt on his own records just because he like wants to go make a record in a castle in France or something like that. And,
Yeah.
like, fly in Nobu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, wow, that's so interesting. He like just deliberately is like, because like he very clearly could recoup this shit if he just like didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
debt makes good old USA go round.
Debt is how we function.
Okay, so what I was gonna say before the Frankie Valley sad thought, Somerset. You guys how many tours do you think you guys have done?
Okay, oof, that's a lot. So we started in 2007, graduated high school. We probably go on our first tour 2008. It's tough. From 2008 to like 2016, we toured like 9 months a year. So like I don't even know what the number would be because we would do like 3 tours a year around the U.S. And back then you could just tour a lot more and not really worry about oversaturating. It was also the only way we could fucking be alive as a band, basically. It's like we actually figured out how to like make money touring, which I know was hard for some, but like we toured like, and then there was a time period I remember, like when the DJs were the craze in the US, we would just go to the UK 3 times a year, and like we were bigger in the UK than we were in the US. So like if we weren't touring in the US, we were in the UK. So like we were in some degree we were doing like 7 tours a year for almost 10 years.
Crazy.
We don't do it that way anymore. I also don't think the marketplace is the same. For
Yeah,
it.
it's different world
We
now.
literally were on the phone with our agent the other day because we have an album coming out next year, and we were like, we kind of want to start off doing like a small like B market underplay, and then like do like a kind of like a major headliner at like the end of the year. And he said, don't even bother with just do 1 tour. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're not Sabrina Carpenter. It's like you just the post pandemic, like I want to see all the live music again. Boom the bubble has sort of ended, and like now there's just a lot of shit out there. Like the competition is crazy. It's like you just do 1 tour, which was a kind of crazy thing to learn. But like,
Yeah.
so I don't know the answer. I don't think the number of tours is countable, but like it was a lot for a long time.
Yeah.
I just remember
been out
that
there.
version of my scene where like all you did was tour.
Yeah. So when did things first like really start clicking where you guys were like, oh shit, like we're like Warped Tour or like
Yeah, well, we were kind of one of the stories where we signed one of the truly like the worst record deals in the history of time.
Was
and
it Victory
somehow-
Records?
It wasn't Victory. It was a label called the Militia Group
Oh yeah.
that just
Yeah.
we are in retrospect one of the lucky stories because like we signed a deal I was still in high school when we signed a record deal, which I thought was so cool, like being at my high school, being like, I signed a record deal. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That got tough. We had like a friendager. We had like a friend promoter in Arizona who was our manager. So we signed a truly terrible deal. Thought that things would be like, we would like just like come out of the gate swinging, and then like a year and a half goes by, and we realize like, oh, we're like kind of stuck. Our label's like stalling on letting us make a record, and we don't really know what's going on. A friend of mine, who's one of my like best friends to this day, used to work at that label, and at the time, eventually he left the label to go somewhere else, and after he left the label, let us know some insider information that he was like, hey, your label is like out of money. They're going bankrupt. They're trying to stall because they don't want to lose you guys. They're trying to figure out like what to do. I'm gonna be honest with you. You need a real manager. And he introduced us to our manager, who's our manager to this day, 16 years later.
Wow.
And our manager jumps on board with us, gets us a new booking agent who's been our agent to this day. So like 16 years with both, which is pretty crazy.
Crazy.
And our new manager does some digging and finds out that like the Militia Group is distributed by this New York label called Razor and Tie, and Razor and Militia Group we learned that Militia Group owes Razor and Tie like tens of thousands of dollars in distribution stuff that they have not paid off. And Razor and Tie then went to Militia and said, you guys can either pay us all this money you owe us or give us the Somerset. And overnight we were on a new label.
Wow.
And it truly, if that doesn't happen, I don't know if we ever make it out of the gate. Because we were able to then finally put a record out.
You guys didn't have any music out.
We had an EP, and like we were still we had an EP, and we were just on the road. Like we were DIY on the road. Like we were just like jumping on any sort of show we can get in any city. Like sometimes we would get like, I remember being on tour in 2008 during like the inflation, then not being able to afford gas. And I remember this one time that first summer, and it's funny in retrospect, I thought this was like, I was like, this is the greatest time of my life because I was 18 and out of high school, and I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Hot
I
shit.
remember we were stuck in Florida for like 6 days because we were kind of just booking our own shows, sort of DIY, and like a couple shows canceled, and we didn't have enough gas money to get out of Florida, so we had to wait until we could like find a local show to
Crazy.
jump on and sell at least a couple $100 of merch, just so then we could then go further up the coast. And I was like, this shit rules.
It's hardcore. Yeah.
So tight. But like, eventually we get this new deal. We make our first album. We have like a real agent, and we get a couple sort of tours in sort of our little Warped Tour kind of scene that just like really connect the dots for us. Like we go on tour with this band Cartel, that then we go on back at the time, like Alternative Press Magazine used to do this tour called the AP Tour every year. That was like the tour you wanted to be on in sort of our Warped Tour kind of scene. And we opened that tour. This would have been like beginning of 2010. And then we did Warped Tour that summer. And then it felt like, okay, the ball is rolling a little bit. Aside from the fact that like we were really good. Like I remember, it's so funny. Like we started our band basically on MySpace, and we were like OG, like talking. We would respond to like every comment on our MySpace.
Yeah.
It was like OG, like internet,
Influencer.
and, like
yeah.
Truly
we would, like,
grassroots.
literally, like we built kind of this thing, on our own that really worked in like Southern California and in Arizona. And we kind of was like, there was like this weird thing happened where like we, in like Orange County and in Arizona, even when like we couldn't get anything else to work anywhere else, for some reason we could sell a fuck ton of tickets just because like we built some like accidental grassroots thing in like both places right out of the gate. Anyway, we put out our first album end of 2009 and go on tour in 2010 on a couple like pretty great little support things for us. And that's when it felt like the things were kind of starting to at least like move in a direction. Mm-hmm. And then there were a lot of ups and downs from there. But
Remember that MTV show with Cartel where
The
they lived in
Bubble?
a bubble?
Mm-hmm. We did the tour right after they came out of the bubble.
Oh, no way.
Kind of, or like a couple
Wow.
after. Yeah,
That show was weird, man.
it's wild,
You remember that?
dude.
Like
and-
they blew up this huge bubble in like South Street Seaport.
Yeah.
Like as big as like a building. And they put this band Cartel inside
Imagine
of it.
the real
like Big
world, but
Brother.
you record. Imagine
Just to like
it's-
live there?
Yeah, so
No,
it's
and make a record.
It's Big Brother, but
interesting.
making an album. It did not. Also, they made the record like before they ever actually went in the bubble. So it was like,
I mean, you do some homework, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like
Studio magic.
it. Yeah, they basically like they were this band chosen for this MTV show called like Band in a Bubble. And they
Could you like hear what they were working on? Outside the bubble?
yeah.
You went to the bubble.
No, I didn't. I meant like if you're watching the show. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember if you were standing outside of the
Can't
bubble,
imagine
but
the
on
bubble
show,
would be too insulated.
Yeah.
I
It
don't.
was huge, though.
It was huge. It was like a house.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't remember if you walked up to the bubble, like if you could hear from outside of it. But I
Yeah.
know, like if you're watching the show, you can like hear them working on shit.
Right.
I don't know.
Cooking
I
up
kind
some
of haven't thought about
tasty
that
riffs.
since. But like Cartel took us on our first like tour ever. They were the first like, they were a band that's like had a hit and like has made records on a major label that like took us on tour that like had fans.
Right.
And that was a game changer. I'm grateful to them to this day, and I'm still like know those guys pretty well. So love them. Shout out Cartel.
Sick.
We've got a couple recurring questions. First, best gig or tour ever?
Best tour ever. Huh. There are some tours that I've been on that were more fun. I wouldn't go with them being the best one, but I had a great time.
That counts.
No, I'll answer the question in a more serious matter. Like, best tour ever. We went on tour last year. It was our first headline tour in like 7-something years since we had broken up. We didn't think like anyone would have stuck around. I also am like sober now, and it's just like a different experience for me on stage, and like it was just far and beyond our best tour we've ever had. The shows are better. The crowd, we sold more tickets somehow then than we did it and before we broke up. It was just like something happened that was really great, and we were the best version of us. We were on stage. We also like are all really good friends again. There was just like a chemistry we had lost for years. And so the sentimental version is the tour that we went on tour last year, and it was just like far and beyond the best tour we'd ever
Hell
done.
yeah.
That shit was pretty cool. Then in the past, there was also a tour we did in Australia in like 2012 that used to exist down there called Soundwave. Soundwave was like the Warped Tour Australia, but on steroids, basically. And like
Australia seems like they
No, this is
get
actually
down.
really funny. So the guy who was the promoter, I remember they don't do it anymore because the dude who was the promoter like embezzled all the money and like is like in jail or like doesn't do it. I don't really remember what happened, but like we did.
Seems likely.
Yeah, we did this
Busted.
tour. Yeah, we did this tour in Australia. It must have had 70. Imagine a festival with like 60 bands on it, but it's doing every major city in Australia. But like we did it. I think like it was like Limp Bizkit, Marilyn Manson, but also like Fall Out Boy, and like it was metal, but also sort of pop rock. And this shit's massive. And I remember in retrospect, at the time I'm 22, so I don't really think about it. But in retrospect, I was like, this guy. This is like the amount of money you have to spend to have done this is like maybe astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly he didn't have it because I guess stuff came out later that like he had not paid certain headliners and stuff like that. He got sued by a bunch of people. But
Your
also
instinct was
on top of that,
onto something.
but we got paid. But granted, we were getting paid like $8. So I think he probably paid us in cash. But at the end of the day, why I reference this tour is Australia, like you kind of have to, if you're going to tour Australia, you have to travel by plane. Like it's like you can't really, all the cities are so far apart.
Yeah.
So we're fucking flying to every city, and like everyone's getting, I should have known when like everyone was getting put up in their own hotel rooms. I was like, there's 2,000 people on this tour. How are you doing this? And like we were just like, we were the smallest band on the tour, and we were like treated like rock gods. We're flying from city to city, and it's like, I call it rock and roll airplane. I was like, it's like in the back of the plane, we're in the back, everyone's just drunk on the plane. It's like Limp Bizkit in the front and like us in the back of the plane, and it's just all like everybody's just like,
Wow, like full chartered
It's-
jet, like only the people on the tour
the
are
irony
on the
is like
plane.
the irony is it's like it wasn't a chartered jet, it was like a Qantas jet that they clearly bought every seat on or
Right.
something
Right,
like
yeah,
that.
uh-huh.
So it might as well have been a chartered jet.
right.
But the irony is I remember one, I think there were like a couple people who weren't part of it, and I actually almost felt bad for them. I was like, how did you? It was like clear like one flight, like they didn't end up accidentally buying all the seats
the
on. And so there was a couple just like regular people, and I was like, oh shit. But it was like rock and roll airplane. It wasn't a chartered jet. They just like bought all the seats. I remember being like, this shit was so fun. And like we'd play like a show in Sydney, and then we'd like fly to Brisbane, have like 3 days off, and then play another show. I was like, we played like 6 shows in like 2.5 weeks. I basically just partied in Australia for 3 weeks.
Right.
It was awesome.
Sounds like a good time.
It was just awesome. I remember like Bam Margera was on the tour for some reason. I think maybe it was his brother. I forget, his brother was in a band or something.
CKY.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think his brother's in CKY, but I think his brother had another band too. Not Damage Plan. I don't think it was CKY, but anyway, Bam's just hanging out on this for some reason, and I remember him getting in a fucking bar fight one night, and it was crazy. Just like beat the shit out of somebody, and I was like, this is awesome. Yeah.
This will do.
I don't
That
think
does
it
sound
was.
fun.
I don't really remember. I bet I could let's look it up. I don't think it was CKY, but I remember he was there just hanging out.
Whatever happened to that band Him that they were like
Yo,
all obsessed
I think
with?
him was on this, like the Finnish metal band or whatever.
yeah.
They're like new metal.
It's like
Yeah,
they're
they
like
had
it's
that,
like
like,
that black metal
logo,
shit.
the,
Yeah,
the half part or whatever.
I think he was on it because I remember this tour, the year we were on it, being like it was very half and half. It was a lot of like new metal and dark metal. I remember one half is like Limp Bizkit, Lamb of God, Marilyn Manson, Slipknot.
Oh, hell
Was
yeah.
on one side, but then like you also have the other side of like the Dashboard Confessionals and like the Fall Out Boy and like and then us on the bottom of that totem pole and like Angels and Airwaves and shit like that.
Yeah.
That was like, so it was like you're kind of basically they tried to corner like all sides of the rock market, like the pop rock side and like the heavy rock side. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, so basically we just went to Australia for like 3 weeks and just rage partied because I
Yeah.
didn't have anything to do. We'd play for 30 minutes a day and then we were treated like rock gods. Clearly this guy just was committing credit card fraud, but it
Caught up
doesn't
with them in the
affect
end,
me.
it sounds like.
It's awesome.
That does sound sick.
Yeah.
Okay, so then on the other end of that, worst gig ever.
I've played with food poisoning. That's pretty tough. It's really hard to beat that. When I'm like puking
Oh.
in a bucket behind a guitar amp in between songs.
Yeah,
That's pretty
Whoa.
nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just
That's
couldn't
rough.
cancel? Like,
Dude, I don't remember why we didn't. I think I have some pride. I think we've canceled one show in 17 years.
Wow.
I don't remember why, but also like God, we probably couldn't afford to cancel.
Yeah.
We probably like really needed to play. We were like an open. I remember it wasn't a tour. Fortunately, it wasn't like one of our. It wasn't like an hour and a half headline set. It was like 30 minutes opening for somebody. I remember like puking behind an amp in between songs because like I'm stubborn as hell. But like I don't know. It's a funny one in retrospect. Like it's hard for me to even think outside of that because like we've had a lot of gigs that were sort of terrible, but like this time away from them, I kind of think all those are funny. So like, is it really like worst gig? I don't know. It's funny if in retrospect, I remember so many. There was one time we played a show in Utah, like in like the first year we were a band, where we were like literally doing it all ourselves. We were playing on like a barn in Utah where we had to build the stage. And if you'd asked me if that show was like last week, I'd call that the worst gig ever. And I thought that shit was fun. So
Yeah.
So like, there's a lot of that. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a lot of just terrible gigs that were kind of fun.
Yeah.
In retrospect, food poisoning on stage is a little. That's a little.
would
That sounds
be
like
It's
it'll
a
take the
little
cake.
tough
That's the worst.
Yeah.
because there's nothing fun. I can't look back at that and even pretend it's fun. That just
Yeah.
was awful.
Yeah.
I've gotten food poisoning once, and it was coming out of both ends though.
Yeah.
So that would have been a wreck for me.
Oh no, I was holding
Yeah.
on for dear life.
Yeah.
Just pooping on stage.
I pooped my pants right in front of everybody.
I was just holding
full
on.
G.G. Allen. Just
Yeah.
make it part of the act. you
Just
know?
holding on for dear life, basically.
That dude was crazy.
Yeah, man.
G.G. Allen.
I
Have
don't
you
know
seen-
that.
He was like this punk rocker dude.
Yeah.
That did he kill himself on stage?
No, he threatened to every
Dark.
year, and then he would always end up in jail. He would like name the show I think that he was going to do it at, and then he would always end up in jail on the day of the show.
I mean,
And
he was like
I think he
mad,
OD'd later.
like violent, like really just like dude, like the craziest shit ever, like violent shit and like just
Wow.
like gory shit, and yeah, that dude was crazy.
Yeah, I was listening to Celine Dion, so I don't know. Yeah.
but
Also threatening to kill herself on stage.
yeah.
Celine Dion,
hardcore.
punk as fuck.
Yeah, she's punk.
This was actually really sad and R.I.P. But Fat Man Scoop, the MC,
Yeah,
he
died on stage like a
Died
couple
on
weeks ago.
stage.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Crazy. Like
Do you-
there's a
I don't
video
remember.
of it.
He like collapsed on stage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But like honestly, like legendary.
Doing what you love.
Yeah.
I
like,
watched
you
last night a video on the Titan submersible that they just found
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
pictures
The
of
one
the
that-
hull that did you see
The
the,
one that
picture of the
imploded
hull?
or whatever?
They found part of the like rudder or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And then I went in a rabbit hole of like what happens to your body when you implode, and
That's
it's
tight.
wild.
Yeah, you
What
just
happens?
like are crushed. To,
It's
like,
such an
smithereens.
immense amount of pressure that it creates an extreme amount of heat, and the compaction or the implosion happens in 1 millisecond.
And you just don't exist anymore.
1 millisecond. And it
You're, like,
takes
pulverized.
25 milliseconds at least for your brain to process anything. Or
I have
pain.
said, like, if you're gonna go, that's kind of
the
the
way
way
to
to
do
go.
it.
Well, it's just like dying in an explosion. Basically.
You turn in. Well,
Yeah.
you turn into goo.
It's implosion.
You literally all of your bones crush in 1 millisecond, and you turn into goo.
And
Like
so
it's a
and so-
goop.
So you would just experience none of that.
You would not know. Even
turn
know.
into
You know, it'd be
fish
really
food.
tight. Like if your body imploded in 1 millisecond, but somehow your brain still took 25 seconds. So you're
Oh,
just
man.
your brain's just processing your now
Yeah.
a lack of
Yeah,
body.
yeah.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, all your
Wild.
pain receptors are gone.
All your pain receptors
And
are
you're
gone,
just,
but
like,
you're just your
in
brain
this
is there. and you're
weird
like-
limbo.
and you're like, wow, for 25 seconds, I am aware that I'm dead.
Oh, it's 20. Well, it's it's 25 milliseconds.
Oh, shit, you're
so
right.
1
Nah.
millisecond.
Nah, not as fun.
Yeah.
Nah,
That it takes
fuck
to
it.
implode, and then 25 milliseconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've discovered on my YouTube rabbit hole.
Wow.
But
yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, you're dead before
Yeah.
you have.
they're
Any
going
clue?
back down. They're doing it again. There's
Is the company still exists or
Not
like,
that
what?
company, but there's
another
more
one. There's
billionaires that are
another
doing
one.
it. Just send
well,
them
that
on
one
down
was
there.
crazy because they literally controlled it with a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game
What's the
controller.
deal with billionaires wanting to explore the ocean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like I'm good. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, why do you want to explore it?
Yeah.
Maybe there's gold down there.
Yeah.
Probably,
Could be.
maybe.
You know,
They don't have enough of it.
chests of gold.
Well, I was saying last
Pirates.
night to
Yeah.
Aaron, I was like, we were watching the video about the implosion, and it was talking about like Mariana Trench and how it's like, I may get this wrong, 6 million pounds per square inch on your body, or like
Yeah.
at around those depths. And it's like almost as if whoever created this shit like doesn't want us to go down there, you know?
Yeah, probably.
That's where the aliens are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could
They're
be
not
down there.
They're not in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in the ocean.
Yeah.
That would be sweet.
Wild.
Yeah. So Brian, what do you have coming up? What's on the horizon? What should people
We
know
are
about?
almost done with our first Somerset full length in 8 years.
Sick.
Congrats.
What number album is this?
This will be 5th full length. When we got back together, we started making a full length immediately. Put out so in 2000, I guess 2.5 years ago, we put out what we thought would be part 1 of a full length album. It's called Blossom. It was like 6 songs. The plan was to put out like a part 1 and then like 6 months later put out part 2 and let them just kind of like flood this sort of thing on Spotify. I think we were just maybe like thinking about at the time I was like, it's really cool that like, and Netflix is doing a lot of these like Stranger Things. Like part 1 comes out and then 3 months later, it's like you keep the conversation going for longer. All of that I thought was really cool, but I think we maybe hadn't quite gotten we had just gotten back together. I don't think we had quite figured out like gotten like what our band was anymore, kind of thing. So we started making part 2 and kind of realized I was like, oh no, this is just like a totally different beast. So we scrapped part 2 of that. We just kind of consider that like an EP now, I guess. And this is our first full length since 2016.
Sick.
Yeah, so when it comes out, it'll be 9 years between albums, which is nuts.
That's crazy. 2016
and,
is that long ago.
And we're almost done with it, and it'll come out. We're aiming for next spring. Not gonna put out any dates in case I fuck this up, which we do often. And other than that, just chilling for the rest of the year. I'm getting married. That's pretty tight.
Let's
Congrats.
go. Let's go.
Getting married on New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Whoa,
Friday.
Yeah.
crazy.
Basically, we're having a party and getting married really quickly. So
Yeah.
we're throwing a party and we're just gonna get married really fast
Nice.
just to have a party.
Vegas.
Downtown LA.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
She's born and raised here, and my family's in Arizona, so we were like, LA's going to be easy. And we thought the idea of New Year's would be really fun. We thought some people would. We kind of checked the waters with our friends and thought there'd be some pushback, and it was like a unanimous, like, oh my God, please do it on New Year's Eve. Gives us a reason to. We all want to hang out with each other anyway.
Yeah.
Let's
Right.
like celebrate something.
Yeah.
New Year's
and-
Eve sucks, so
I know,
You know,
right.
you like take
Yeah.
it back.
Yeah.
And then your
Yeah.
anniversary will be New Year's
yeah.
Eve every year.
Right.
I know.
It'll be a party.
And so we really loved that idea, but then we were also like we also wanted to find a place that like we could have till like 2 a.m. because like so many good wedding venues. Also, her and I are like we love the idea of like doing a lot of things traditionally and then twisting it, kind of thing. Like kind of like taking the traditional and like twisting it a little bit and like, we found this venue downtown that we basically we were like. We'll do New Year's Eve if like we'll know if we find a place and it screams like let's do New Year's Eve, and we found this place downtown and we love it, and it's just like screaming New Year's Eve party. So we're having a New Year's Eve party.
Awesome.
So trying to finish album in the next few weeks, and then I'll probably just dick around for the rest of the year, hopefully.
Then
We
Better Days
obviously-
on Broadway.
Obviously, we've been working on this musical that like we're trying to find some producing partners for to help do a reading stuff. So like ready for that whenever that happens. But in the meantime, those are kind of the two
Let
things.
me know if you need someone for the character on the
we're
table
gonna
read.
we're gonna
I'll learn
need
it.
we're gonna need people.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. We're gonna need some people. So
And I got the lights. Don't
and you
worry.
got the
Yeah.
lights.
There you go.
You
On
got
the
the
lights.
lights.
There you go.
You got the lights. Yeah, and then I don't know. I just write songs, hang out with my dog, and play tennis and drink coffee. That's about it.
Heck
It's
yeah.
like my whole life.
It's
So
a pretty good life.
it's pretty simple. I'm trying to simplify it.
I had therapy yesterday, and we did this like meditation thing, and she was basically like, just like think about if you could like your perfect day, like what does it look like in the morning, like who's it with, like, and it could be anybody, like, and I didn't even think about it when I was doing it, but I was thinking about just life right now, and then like and just that's what I was picturing, like that's what I wanted, that's who I wanted to be around, that, and like when
And
we
you
finished
thought,
it,
and you thought about me the whole time.
exactly, thought about all of you guys in this podcast.
No, just me.
yeah.
Not everyone.
No, it
Yeah.
was me.
And then we were talking about it after, and she was like, "Isn't that so great that like it could be anything, but it's just you describe just like what your life is now." And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
life's pretty tight.
Try to
That's
simplify
great.
it.
It's pretty good. Life's
Every
pretty good."
time I try to simplify it, I'm like, oh wait, it's great.
yeah,
Wait a second. There's obviously a lot of things that I would like to happen, but
Right.
if none of them do, this is a pretty good version of it I've got going on. So if the world implodes in the next
Right.
100 days,
Going
my
out
life
on
is-
top.
My life
We'll just
my life
be
is
all a
good.
bunch of goop, and
My-
we won't
yeah.
know about it anyway.
I know. My life
Yeah.
is solid right now.
Yep.
I've simplified it. It's really
What
just,
was not solid. Then talk about Vegas. Have you guys seen Leaving Las Vegas?
the movie?
Nick Cage movie.
Nick Cage?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That shit is
Dude.
crazy.
It's like-
I watched that the other night.
Man, the amount of there's alcoholism and then there's that.
That movie is so dark.
It's so dark.
so insanely dark, but that's like the perfect Nick Cage role.
It's probably the best portrayal of a drunk I've ever seen.
It's like
it's really
like,
heavy.
and he acts it so well. Like
it's
he's got
probably
like
the
the
best
Yeah.
portrayal.
fucking 100-yard stare dialed in,
Uh-huh.
so good.
It's
He's
the
great.
most like committed drunk. I believe this is acting.
yeah, it's like, oh, this dude has to be drunk.
He's
I know.
picked
Like-
the coolest roles for himself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nick Cage is a fucking.
He's
legend.
played himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forever.
That's so cool.
That
Yeah.
dude is wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is not a good life. That's like what
know.
I love dark movies. It's
Sure.
kind of like Shakespearean to me. It's like,
Sure, I love it.
wow, like my life is so good.
Oh yeah, no, I love.
Compared to Nick Cage and Leaving Las Vegas. Yeah.
I love.
Requiem
you're doing
for a
pretty good.
Dream.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Like all of that kind of
I
shit.
mean, I like
It's
all the Shakespeare tragedies a lot more than I like the
Yeah.
comedies. So
Yeah, yeah,
there's-
yeah.
Just watch Intervention, man. You'll feel great.
the TV show.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
me
binge
and my
watch
mom used to watch that
Intervention.
show.
Yeah.
All is that
And
still
you
on?
just turn it off when it was done. It was like high five each other. Like,
Dude, this is a real story.
not
There was
like that
one
at
time.
all.
We're doing
Yeah.
great.
There was one time on tour where we would watch Intervention on the bus. For some reason, it was just like, we were on our bus and like we had our like whatever bus direct TV situation where like somehow you have all these channels, but like maybe only 6 of them work. So it just felt like we were watching Intervention all the time on tour. And I remember us one day actually sitting down and being like, yo, like the vibe is really dark on this tour.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out what it was and realizing like, oh, we've just had Intervention on the bus all day
Yeah.
for like
Yeah.
for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
And we actually had to collectively make this decision to have an intervention about intervention.
Guys, we got to get off Intervention.
We were like, oh wait, why is our like what is in something's in the air? Like it's the vibes are bad on this tour. The vibes are bad on stage. What is it? And we were like, I think it's because we're watching Intervention all day.
so then we switched over to ridiculousness.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So we switched over to ridiculousness.
which is on MTV constantly.
How is
it's
it
the only
still-
thing on MTV?
Yeah.
How is it still making new stuff? I was in Denver over the weekend, and I went to the gym in the hotel, and the TV was on already, so I didn't think anything of it. And I had headphones on, and Ridiculous is on. Of course, Ridiculous is on the TV in the gym, and I'm not thinking anything about it. I'm just like, yeah, Ridiculous reruns. These are on every day for the rest of the time. And then I kind of took my headphones off, and I realized I was like, I don't remember who the guest was. But I realized I was like, oh my God, this is like a newer episode of Ridiculousness. Like, this is a relatively new thing this person is on here promoting. You could have told me that show ended 10 years ago.
That shit
Yep.
must be made. I mean, syndication, that's where the cheese is.
I'm aware,
That's
dude.
where the moolah
I'm
is.
aware.
And so dude is
I know.
rolling it.
And getting doinked in the balls
Yeah.
perpetually, just
Yeah,
the most
dude.
popular genre of things.
Yeah.
You know? Like watch these
Everybody
people get
loves
hit in
when
the
people
balls.
eat shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I used to love, I mean,
Eating
still
shit.
do. Yes.
Yeah.
I love eating poop. But America's Funniest Home Videos,
Yeah,
I used to
dude.
Yeah,
love
it's
that
same-
show.
same genre.
But now you just pull open Instagram and
Yeah.
you got
Yeah, yeah.
You
America's
got 'em.
Funniest Home Videos 24/7.
Yeah.
Um,
I just like Instagram's accounts of like kids getting hurt.
Kids
Well,
getting
yeah,
hurt,
yeah.
people
I
getting
love
mad.
Yeah, kids getting hurt. You know, they're not really getting hurt, so it's fine. But God,
Yeah.
there's nothing I love
A good
more
fall
watching.
is-
Just a good fall.
It's
Yeah.
hard to beat. It's
Yeah.
hard to beat.
I watched a kid at a birthday party last weekend fall face first into her plate of nachos while trying to get into the pool, and like it was pretty dark for a second, but she was okay. So then I've been laughing about it for like 3 days now because it
Oh,
was
yeah.
beautiful. It was
That
a
is-
beautiful fall.
Yeah, that is like
just trying to run toward the pool, having the best day of her life, and then fell into her plate of nachos, and I was like, it was poetic.
yeah, that's God's comedy.
It was. She's good now. So
Have you seen that video? That's like the genre of like news fails. Period.
Yeah.
Like on YouTube, like news anchor like
I
fail
love
compilations.
news fails.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Boom goes the dynamite.
best. Huh?
Boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah.
That's
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah.
The fucking Bill O'Reilly.
So
or
good.
the one anchor that's like stomping grapes.
Yep.
And like in the field. And she's like,
It's like
Yeah,
one of the
that's old.
world's first viral videos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
so,
like-
such a
Literally.
throwback.
it's the best.
And then the old other viral one was the reporter. He's like, I'm tired of this country ass town. He gets like a fly in his throat. He's like, I'm sick of this shit.
Yes. Oh my God, I
So
could
good.
watch those for hours. Oh well. On that note, Brian, thank you for coming on.
wow, that's
This is a
it.
treat.
I feel like I just hit my rhythm.
I mean, we could do. We'll do another episode.
Yeah, you have to just come back.
Come
I
on
feel like
back,
I've
yeah.
just hit my stride.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been great having you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Truly. Yeah.
I
Everybody.
love sitting around doing nothing and talking.
Yep.
So.
I know it is. This podcast's low key like a blessing.
Good morning, Jupiter.
Right, Jupiter. say hello.
She's awake. She's awoken.
It's the CEO of
Jup.
all of this.
Jup.
Jupiter.
Jup.
Get in the camera.
Jupe, get in the
Get in
camera.
the camera.
Come here. Come here.
Get in the camera, Jupe.
Hi.
There we go.
Oh, Jupe. Hi. Oh, you want to say hi? Hi. Hi.
Jupe, what do you have to say to the people?
What do you want to say?
You love.
She
love
doesn't
them?
talk. She never says anything.
Do you want to say goodbye? Do you want to say goodbye?
Huh?
If you had a cat, maybe she would talk.
Yeah,
Well,
Hazel might
Hazel
talk.
is the she's the cat. She's the talker.
How's Jupiter do with cat?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she wants to be everybody's best friend.
Yeah, sure.
Hazel's more the one that's like,
Sure.
get out
Enough
of my face.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cats want to do everything on their terms.
Yeah.
Dogs, they just don't care.
Yeah. They're like, can I crawl inside your body?
Yeah.
Can
Hi.
I wear you
Can
as
I-
my skin?
Can
Yeah.
can I fit inside your sweatshirt?
Can you put the lotion on the skin or else it gets the hose again?
Hi.
Amazing.
Well,
all right.
that was great, guys.
Yeah, thanks for
Brian,
Jupiter.
thank
Brian.
you.
Jupiter,
Crushed
let's have a
it.
conversation.
Yeah. Now you gotta subscribe for the premium content of Jupiter and Brian's
Oh, yeah.
discussion.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
everybody. Thank you. Peace out. Ben and Bren Show. Love you.
Stuff you know and stuff you don't. It's the Ben and Bren Show.